In fact, if they do a good job in this advertisement, you will be shocked to see that Safaricom will be the first online to go out to do tree planting. Kenya Airways, whom we have been discussing a lot about in this house, and we are happy to note now, they are posting profits. They are not posting losses after this house had made a very heated, animated debate on why KQ should not be allowed to continue existing. But it is good to see they have been turning around, and I hope they continue to improve their service. We will be seeing Kenya Airways being in the lead in ensuring that we have a forest cover. And corporates are going to account to the public on what they're doing, even in tree planting in different counties. EABL, which has been very, strategic in the manner in which it's handling matters of environment. We want to see a better report, even from EABL, improve the tree cover in the counties. And of course, there are many other corporates and entities which are within the Republic of Kenya, which can assist in making sure we have tree planting programs, and also including the youths in the program. On Speaker, can you imagine that entities may not even have people, may not even have enough seedlings to go planting out there, while working with county government, national government, private entities, the youth can be engaged to do the tree planting nurseries. What has on that? Why can't we now then, after this legislation is passed, use this legislation to ensure that our youth are engaged? And I want to request the Honourable Senator to ensure that in the crafting of this bill, you do an incorporation of how the youths who are energetic and whose energy can be used for tree planting nurseries, for brewing nurseries, to come on board and help us do these things. And I want to also say, looking at the functions that have been assigned under Section 8 of this Environmental Amendment 2024, when I look at those functions, and I look at the service being entrusted with ensuring that the management plans, in those plans, we want to see inclusion of the youth and the women. And why do I say this? Because I have noted certain groups of women have been trying to do the tree nurseries. And we must be able to encourage them, not to ask the private entities to be able to pick up those groups, not those groups who are managing those tree nurseries and ensure that they are propped up, they are funded, and they are paid for the time they are using to do the tree planting activities. And service should be mandated together, working together with county governments, to ensure that the research is properly done for all the counties, so that the species of trees which are not suitable for certain counties must not be allowed to grow in certain counties or must not be planted. So that it's not a blind exercise. It is an exercise that is informed by research and is informed by best research to the accurate county. For a situation where we have the blue gum, it is called Maji. It starts water from the soil. We should have that blue gum within the areas where it is accumulating and taking water away from the environment. But in its place, we should have scientific research tell the counties what kind of trees are suitable to counties. So this service has a lot of work to do. And it must work, not in a commercial sense, but driven by purpose. Driven by purpose, we show that counties will benefit from this legislation. And then, Honourable Speaker, I want to call out and to congratulate the groups that have been doing certain very good work. Babu Project Group, which is leaded by trade women groups in Kamawa Ward. I have not known them myself, but they have reached out to my office to say that they are doing Babu for Kenya, and they are women groups. They have organized themselves, made their own initiative. These grassroots women can do that. How much more can government do to ensure that we promote afforestation and deforestation? And for ourselves as individuals, we say that we can do help the groups become better. If you're a teacher, a doctor, a professional in your country, can you not support 2-3 groups yourself and ensure that even if you can't do the tree planting yourself, another person is doing the tree planting? How effective we become, that's how we are going to be able to achieve the targets for the number of trees we must plant to ensure that we have afforestation and deforestation. But let me also say, Honourable Speaker, that this legislation now seems to look down on support from the organisms, including religious organizations, CBOs, mosques, temples, all those organizations which are able to mobilize people. And then have a day when all Christian churches say, today is our day, and we have a day when all the mosques say, today we are not driving the planting exercise. Because we realize when finding an environment is so bad, that no longer yields any concept, no longer yield food. It becomes for all of us, it's not the support of the government. And then I want to challenge our honourable and job in this to ensure that this legislation, this amendment is comprehensive in nature. We must no longer have forests like Gong Forest becoming a risk here for anybody thinking that if you have a time when you go forest at night, not that you could next forest is insecurity. We must have a comprehensive legislation that looks at whole factors that are affecting our forests right now as from the time of planting to watering to growth to maturing of those trees to harvesting to give for people who are doing the right thing in afforestation and doing the right thing, and to be in sanctions for those who have reached the point, and for those who are doing deforestation in a manner that is out of the framework of this legislation. And Honourable Speaker, when I speak of security now around this forest, Honourable Speaker, let me note that we have faced a crisis on issues of femicide. It is unfortunate that sometimes the women who have been butchered, their bodies have been either been thrown in rivers or have been thrown in forests. Even all persons that may have faced such calamities, it is a big shame and it is terrible. We must also ensure that this forest, the legislation covers the security aspect of the forest, so that if a community or a city is going to do reforestation in places like Wanjerere, up in Ranga, or in Kiamoturi, those women are safe, those youths are safe. To ensure that exercise continues to become not just challenging, but it becomes rewarding and it becomes something that the community is appreciating. With those many remarks, or few remarks, I want to congratulate the Senator and to hope that this Environmental Laws Amendment Bill will be passed by the rest of the senators. Thank you.
Senator Wamatinga Wahome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to to also contribute to this important amendment that has been moved by a member of County of Garissa, the Senator for Garissa. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, environmental conservation, afforestation, and taking care of the climate change, ensuring that our future generation get a sustainable environment, is a responsibility that we have both legally and morally. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, it cannot be overemphasized that climate change has led most of the third world countries in Africa to suffer the most. We've seen changes in rainfall pattern, we've seen extreme droughts, we've seen extreme floods, and Mr. Speaker, these has mostly affected children and women living in the rural setups. It's also not lost to us, Mr. Speaker, that fundamentally most of the African nations, Kenya included, failed to establish well-structured urban setups, and therefore, whenever there are disasters that has been occasioned by floods, they suffer most. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would want, therefore, to take this opportunity to thank the Senator for Garissa for having come up with these amendments, because this is what Kenyans are expecting from us. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is in this line that Wamatinga Foundation, one that I founded and lead, established a club toto in primary schools, club teen in secondary schools, so that we can try to encourage the youngsters at their young age to take environmental action, tree planting, and most importantly, tree growing as their responsibility. We know that we have had this campaign in successful governments. But, Mr. Speaker, an important mistake that we've continued to miss is that we plant trees, but we don't grow them. Many times, we've gone on drives and mass planting trees, but they are at the mercy of the nation to make sure. This is one of the challenges, and therefore, we need to have a change, a paradigm shift in the way we do it. We move from tree planting to tree growing. And this can only happen if we embrace culture. I will encourage people, and I like what my fellow Senator, nominated Senator Brown has said, that indeed we must make it, we must create incentives around tree planting so that it does not only attract them and tackle leave, but also in a way that corporate can be engaged in a way that will reduce their value. This is what Speaker. We'll create enough incentives so that we can be sure that corporate participate in tree planting and tree growing and can see that these trees get to maturity. Mr. Speaker, we know that there are huge markets of carbon trade. This, and I'm happy to be part of the RAND committee that tried to debate and debated on the way it can become available in the local market. Mr. Speaker, it is also of us that the change in the geopolitics internationally, and also the new President, Donald Trump, who does not seem to put as much emphasis in extending the helping hand to the third world countries. It is a challenge to us to come up with innovative approaches that will ensure that we sustain projects without over-reliance on donor funds. And this is why, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would want to thank and encourage opponents, and mostly I would want to start by thanking the President for the introduction of some of these taxes that is like that will ensure that people are enticed not to consume goods produced from outside, but at the same time, and kind of a tax regime that will ensure that those who produce locally and environmentally friendly goods also get a tax. And these are things, Mr. Speaker, that I think we as senators should be on the forefront to champion, because we must now look at the world and be also fully aware that the change of the geopolitics in the world can affect this country, because mostly we rely on budgetary bridging measures that are donor driven. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I want to say that it is also our senators to encourage our county governments to ensure that they embrace agro-forestry as a way of government. Mr. Speaker, trade in forest product can be a good source of employment and also a good source of revenue for the government. This can only happen if we encourage our counties to not only create a nationalist proceedings, but also to portion a substantial amount of money in this area, so that as we proceed to protect the environment, we'll also be increasing our own source of revenue at the same time. Mr. Speaker, it has been said, and I want also to emphasize, there are some species of trees that have been planted, and it's also important that the colonists introduce these species, because by the time they come to colonize this country, there was a swamps abroad in the world, so that they could be able to much water. Several years down the line, Mr. Speaker, now we have a situation where we have a declining water level, we have declining riparians, we have declining leaves. Therefore, we should also, as a government, ensure that we make planting of eucalyptus, commonly known as the blue gum, illegal, and the ones that have been planted, and especially algal banks, should be fed, because if we don't do that, we will be encouraging desertification, and most importantly, we will see the water levels in our land to go to reduce. Mr. Speaker, sir, finally, as I wind up, I want to encourage members as we raise planting. It is like that we share occasional attends, be it a church, be it a wedding, be it a funeral, be it a fundraiser. So it's all important of showing people trees. It has been said here and repeated, some trees are not medicine, some fruits of mangoes, biologists cannot be used as an alternative of food, especially now that we know that moving forward will be relying more on the driven and not produced. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I think member of sir, I want to say that I would be a person to see the being realized. But we should not stop there. We should go ahead and say, corporate plan, led by KRA, led by the government organizations, we must join up as a team and ensure that moving forward, this country does not only become green, but it also becomes sustainable for the future generation, because that is our operation, and we must ensure that we do that. And therefore, it's what I personally established my foundation, which has now separated over 1 million siblings, and we will continue. And we're doing it is we're taking kids, and we've come up with an approach where we give children an adopted seedling, they grow with it. By the time they finish their school, they'll see that indeed it is in the hands to transform this country. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Kisang.
Good. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise, Madam Speaker, to support this forward-looking bill, amendment bill by Senator from Kwanza, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I remember when I was in high school and also early 90s, Madam Speaker, there was a lot of campaign across the country by the former President-elect Daniel Amoy on afforestation. And campaigns went throughout the year. When in primary school, children were encouraged to plant trees and grow trees. And when you go back to your primary schools or high school, Madam Speaker, and you see the number of trees that we grew, you get proud, Madam Speaker, because of what we did. And in a great way, it assisted in terms of the climate change, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think there was an issue between 2003 up to 2020, there was some, we did not do proper campaign, even up to 2022, Madam Speaker. We didn't do a lot of campaign on afforestation, Madam Speaker. That is why you see the lakes across the Rift Valley, Madam Speaker. There has been a rise in the volume because of climate change, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we go back to those days and ensure we use our children in primary school, our children in secondary school to grow, to plant and so we ensure we reach the 50 billion by 20. It's not easy. We don't use all avenues to ensure that we plant trees and grow trees, Madam Speaker. There are benefits when we do afforestation. Apart from medicine, getting better source of water, getting timber, Madam Speaker, this is something that we need. And I thank the Senator for coming up with the amendment, and we sure that we also incorporate and urge our counties, because the counties have resources. The National Security Fund 1% on the funds they receive on environment, Madam Speaker, which, if utilized very well, basically it means all our constituencies across the county, across the country, Madam Speaker, will able to plant something, and this will enhance and will also increase our forest cover, Madam Speaker. In fact, Madam Speaker, if you check the kind of percentage of our forest cover, it's only a few counties that have more than 10% forest cover, Madam Speaker. We need to find an incentive, a way of incentivizing the communities so that they know, Madam Speaker, growing trees is beneficial to the community, it's beneficial to the county, Madam Speaker. I know we passed the running bill and there were some stages. There's a percentage that goes to the community where these resources are found. There's a percentage that goes to the county, Madam Speaker. I think it's about 20 and 5%, Madam Speaker. We also need to, during this particular amendment, Senator Aji, maybe we need to be additional amendments so that when KFS has harvest, what does the county get? So the communities are taking the first, but when KFS does the harvest, what remains at the county? What remains at the community? So that they own it. Otherwise, for now, there is nothing that is incentivizing the community to protect the forest. So I believe we need to bring additional amendments so that to encourage people, so that they know it's just they are protecting the forest. When KFS harvest, in fact, we also need to agree on this particular amendment bill, Senator Aji, a percentage. When KFS advertises for harvest of the trees, we need to set a percentage for the local within the county, within the locality. Because sometimes, and all the big pillars, they harvest and the community, they don't benefit, so they don't see the reason why they are planting first, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also announced the introduction of afforestation week, and you have given a proposal 15th of March up to 27th of March, Madam Speaker. I believe we also need to look at this briefly because we very well by every normally in our country because in our web, a lot of rights. So maybe we need to shift a week from 15th maybe towards end of March or early April, so that by the time, the rains are basically be across the country. Because if you plant around 15th and it is dry, basically there'll be an issue. We also need to encourage ourselves as a colleagues say, wherever you go for function, let us encourage our plan and countries.
Would you like to be?
Yes, use the
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Senator Kisang, for your submission and support of the bill. I just wanted to inform you the week for tree planting that before the amendment bill is supposed to coincide with the International Tree Planting Day. So in terms of moving, it will be a little bit difficult. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Right, okay, then it is noted. But basically, tree planting, we can just make it a continuous exercise. We can observe the national one, but we can notice it throughout so that it becomes a way of life. It becomes a way of life. All the time when you go to church, you plant a tree, you go to school, you encourage, our to plant trees so that we achieve this cover and we sensitize our people that it is important for so many reasons. Madam Speaker, with those remarks, I support the bill, and we are colleagues that we support it, and I hope, Senator, I urge you to look for a corner in this house, because, as we discussed yesterday, we pass in this house. When they go to National Assembly, they stay the shelves for too long, or they die. So please, it's not for you on the right. I submit.
Thank you. Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to colleagues to support the bill. I want to take the time that we concern of environment protection of our land. As aware, the certification is actually encroaching so much into our land, especially in the northern part of Kenya, and even within the Mount Kenya area. But because of the indigenous trees are disappearing, and as a result, the land is left bare. The rainfall is so unpredictable that sometimes it might not receive the rightful rain because of the deforestation going. And therefore, I think the bill now is actually giving concerns to afforestation programs, which have been there many years, but of late it has been out. Initially, it was most driven by bonus, but now is the high time to get budget for budgetary allocation for the program of deforestation. Honorable Speaker, climate change is large, and it has affected every part of this country, all parts of this country, adversely. And therefore, we can help have a program for us. We have so many programs with women that are in course of the country. But of course, this is a plan. And the use in afforestation programs of the country. There's something like afforestation where they can be able to do the waterings. In the past, we used to have programs that there was a capacity afforestation program where every household has this. And you see many trees growing up in the urban centers. These same programs should be continued and should be and actually should be indigenous trees, because indigenous trees will not have much need for water and will be able to resist the drought and the climate changes. We have some exotic trees these trees have been most of vegetation comes. I swear, this country, drought, most of the trees are dying. But now is even the trees that are still surviving, the refugees are cutting them and the land is being left bare. So these are programs. We don't have because we still have UNHCR and all the refugees in the foreign affairs should have programs to be able to help the locals to do station. Everything cuts, and they should help. So that at least we have to maintain the forest cover in those areas. As it is now, it's just became a bare land. Honorable Speaker, we also need to have the idea of afforestation. Actually, you saw what it means to have this, so they can and have the thing, that importance of having trees everywhere. The school competitions, the schools which are forested, they rewarded, the schools paid some money. So it's not so to be able to invert you see, the population today, and more people need land. And what is the tree to systems for every area. If the place for farming, agriculture is only that place has its own places. So like in Kenya, everybody wants or she wants. I think that should be stopped. That means a proper plan for even people saying, because I know it is a population boom, people are increasing, but also we preserve forest. People are encroaching the forest. If you see even Karura now, people are building houses so that we can be able to forest. It's not possible. Once you make encouragement when trees are cut, and everybody wants to see the best of the forest, it's that kind of must like yes. So we must fight for the maintenance of forest and stop those guys who have little money rushing to the forest site of Ngong and places. One thing is we can minimize do what you call forest like incentives. So every forest must have planting trees. I think the only way that we can be able to have issues. And one other thing that the bill is not showing very well is the laws, the enforcement. Restrictions and the orders. So I need to have very strong laws to be put in place so that the consequences of cutting trees and the afforestation, so that this we can be able to cover. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Wakili.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to this very important bill. I'd like to start by appreciating the Honorable Senator Abdul for sponsoring such a very important amendment to the bill, because, Madam Speaker, lately we do have conversation around climate change as one of the most favorite issues because the need to conserve environment, and this climate has come at a very critical time where most, if not all organizations, including in our schools, have got an aspect of tree planting and protection of trees and our forest. Madam Speaker, I will directly speak to the various processes which the bill proposes to amend. And as I start from speaking of the amendment to Section A, where, as earlier on alluded by the Honorable Senator, I would ask the Honorable Senator to consider adding a provision under that particular proposal so that we seek to promote the planting and growing of trees. This is as part of the provisions as proposed of Section 8, which reads, "Section promote the planting of trees on all public land in the county, promote afforestation in semi-arid areas in the county." I thought that the word grow be included after the word planting of trees, so that we don't only do the act of planting the trees. The most important aspect of tree planting, or rather afforestation, is growing the trees, and it can only happen when we protect the trees we have planted. And if that is possible, that will give a lot of effect to the provisions under Section 8, as well as Section 1 of the Forest Conservation Amendment Act, subsection 1, which inserts an additional provision that will read, "shall promote the planting of trees in all public land vested in the county government." And so that being a very important step in making sure that we achieve the objective of this act, because planting these trees without giving some policy direction in terms of law and protection will not lead to us achieving those objectives. Therefore, as the Honorable Senator Abdul, to consider that provision. Secondly, the provision of Section 8, of Section 8B, EB, this is what the draft bill reads: establish at least one tree in each county for trees sustainable for the environment and the conditions of the respective county. This is a very important point, and I want to laud the Honorable Senator because we are going by creating a requirement that in each there must be a tree nursery. We are not only going to be giving the objective of planting trees, but we will be enhancing the possibility of job creation. Madam Speaker, when the Honorable Senator he made reference to an effort that she's done in providing opportunities to young girls who will trained in her foundation of tree planting. This particular one, if we provide where everybody has, we will be able to sustain, first of all, availability of seedlings across the country in all seasons across the year, because this responsibility of the county governments will be increasing the opportunity for them ones who will be working in the industries. By extension, they will keep them engaged as against getting idle and engaging in activities which are not necessarily practical. But Speaker, when this provision is made in law, it is going to provide an aspect that is beyond the growth of trees. The proposal was under Section 40 of the Forest Conservation and Management Act, where there is a proposal that reads, "A person who has a tree shall place the tree under the direction and in an area designated by the service." I have a particular provision, and I wish the Honorable Senator would have allowed the move of this bill to this contribution. The requirement that the service. Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is very important because the provision in proposed law is that the service will be required to provide direction and designate a place where replacement trees have been asked to be done. The problem with this, because it's originating the role to the service cannot be because having harvested a tree, what guarantee do I have as a person who has harvested or the member who has replaced the tree will I have in terms of making sure that the service, those who are in service, are available to designate a place and to provide direction for that particular provision? Honorable Senator, I would request that you relook at that provision so that we have made our obligation in law without necessarily having the obligation on the part of the service or the officers of the service to designate a place for purposes of replacement. But otherwise, the general provision will to make sure that every person who is harvested must make sure that they replace. And I would propose that instead of even providing that you cut one, you replace one, we can provide that you replace by planting more than one tree. If you harvested one, more than five, you harvested five, to ensure that we hasten the replacement capacity of the trees which we are planting. But the introduction under that subsection 4A or 5 for the provisions of this law is a very welcome move. Reason that if you are if you are found to have been the provisions 1 or 2, you have committed offense and you are liable to contribute to a fine not exceeding 5 million imprisonment for a term of 3 years or about 5%. Introduction of this particular fact that the criminal offense leads to a fine has been found convicted. Madam Speaker, will ensure that the rest of Kenyans who are very keen in making sure that we comply with law will comply with the punishment itself is punitive enough to make sure that people comply with law, and that provision is a welcome move. But there is still a provision under the amendment to 54 of the Forest Conservation Amendment Act where the tax fund is expected to create some sort of incentive to ensure that not only public, but also private forest proprietors are given an incentive. The reduction of subsection D, which provides that income and other tax deductions will be an aspect that the Kenya Revenue Authority will provide to private entities in order to tree planting programs. This is one of the most important things that will be an incentive not to not the public who protect the forest, but also to private proprietors and those who have available to implement programs on tree planting. This is a given incentive. If, for example, you are allowed to get a tax waiver by virtue of you planting certain number of trees, this way many private owners will push their limits and ensure that they maximize on the amount of the possible tax that they can give when this declaration is implemented by the Kenya Revenue Authority. The provisions of Section 5, which is implemented by introduction of a 1 week tree planting observation week. In this is ensure that every Kenyan is under an obligation in a period of 1 week to support the process of tree planting. So to run away from the pronouncements that we always rely on, respecting the president or his leadership day, when you have this period between 15th of March and 21st of March every year, this week will be a week dedicated to tree planting. And in ensuring that this becomes, we will enhance the support that we decide to give the pronouncements by the president, target the achievement of over 15 billion in a period of 10 years. Further to the post-amendment to Section 7, as proposed by the Honorable Senator, is to ensure that every person who is licensed to harvest trees is required to place each harvest tree in accordance with directions of the service. This is what is the provision which I say we should remove the responsibility of designating a particular place to the service. Whoever has been licensed, harvest trees, because so many in the country who harvest trees when they this requirement that they are in law supposed to replace trees, we should remove it from the service and provide in law that once you have been given a number of trees to harvest in a certain forest, whether it's public or private, as a licensed harvester or as a licensed person, you are under an obligation or required to replace them. It is a good move. What we need to do is make sure that we have got a policy on implementation so that those who are unable to implement the that law are made to be subjected to the process of law in terms of offense and also the police. So when you look at the forest cover for country, I have looked at the county has got a forest cover of 24%. That is not enough. We are targeting push to that. We have beyond 50%, and the of this bill, Senator Abdul has about 10%. This is a very important also that Senator Abdul is making its support in ensuring that we only achieve the presidential call to enhance tree planting to make sure that we achieve the 15 billion with the year, but also ensure that we go by the global economy in terms of protection of the benefits that come alongside the creation of remaining forests within our areas. To the Honorable Senator, this is a very important support and support to all the members, both within the house and outside, so that we enhance our cover in the jurisdiction and we gain the benefits of the extended tree cover. Thank you, and I support.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the opportunity to support this bill. And I congratulate Senator Haji for coming for this opposition to take care of our programs. Madam Speaker, I would like from the onset that the motion of station reforestation in arid and areas has been very low. And I think what this law is doing is to be deliberate in reforestation, and I congratulate our colleague because 8% of Kenya is ASAL. It's arid and semi-arid. Only 20% of the country that actually has enough moisture for us to say that you can plant crops. Unfortunately, we're losing more land, we're losing a lot of pieces of land to buildings. So we are reducing the 20% and that requires a lot of attention. So this bill is going to do once it's implemented, and I think it's going to not only support, but we also implement. We push for implementation of these afforestation of ASAL areas of the country. Promoting planting of trees at all public institutions is very good. It is the easiest way of doing things because we have land that belongs to public institutions, land that belongs to schools, to and any other institutions that are put there. And this is going to give us, if we aim at getting 15% of each public institution planted trees, we will actually have a very, we'll move long way. A few amendments I propose to our public. One is on Article 2B, where he says that we need to establish at least one tree nursery in each county for suitable for the environment. I would like to suggest that we be more ambitious and not just have one tree nursery, but have one tree nursery per public primary or secondary school. This is very important because in a way, it's simple. We use one trees. I visited my tree, it was standing huge as it is, and it's ready for harvest if it is not ready for harvest. So if we use the primary schools, or later, and I want to present my colleague, that is, we say at least what is but actually all our primary schools and all our secondary schools should have tree nurseries. But for that, we need to inculcate a tree planting behavior to children when they are very young. Someone mentioned earlier about the area of really an environmental area, because we had soil conservation days and we had tree planting days, and they start from the youngest. You had every student planting trees. Then having trees planted by students and others in schools is an issue of the question. I also have seen one of the functions that we are contributing to the service is that of promoting forestry education and training. I think from out of that, we'd like to see clubs, as they call them, we have environmental and tree planting clubs in primary schools and secondary schools. But we that the coming is that those have a course of forestation, conservation, and climate change, so that it becomes part of us, part of what we're doing. So tree planting, I think we need to make our children very sensitive in behavior. I want it to be in those olden days where the Chiefs Act was used to protect the environment, and at the same time it was used to protect water courses, so that water catchments are protected. The Chiefs Act, and if you would not be allowed to fill without asking for permission in a facility or in your farm, and what would make this Article 40A monetary, because when you have a tree and direction in an area designated by service, you will find that that cannot happen even in a forested area. The developer, but of course, must again have a permit even for the tree. But what has been done, you can only be designated is within the area or a land. But what about our own piece of land? We need to start controlling the tree felling. I remember when tree felling was was banned, it was banned in private and now generate press within the country. So we need to relook at that and see how we manage it. So that, as our colleague Wakili Sige was saying, on the issue of on the issue of tree felling and regulating the felling of the trees, it's not only by permits, by permits for service, but it's good to make sure that the ability of the ground. So let's see how we can bring it down. So this act can also be, we can this act much later, we can revisit that. It's still there because I think it's been rattled in a long time. But I put the chiefs also here, so that we know that the state service is chiefs of the area. So that people will see from the first instance if things are going wrong. And the ones that when we talk about forest conservation, for us to be able to conserve, let's have both what is in the public land and what is in the private lands. Madam Chair, the other thing I want to persuade my colleagues is that it's a issue of planting week. I wanted to persuade him to have planting month from 15th of March to 15th of April. Why? Because of the rain that is in the country. You know, it's the main rainy season, and if we allow a month, then the minister will organize so that we start planting right from Manila all the way to Lake Victoria. So 1 month would be more reasonable to me than 1 week. And we don't want to get to there is drought, then we can make. So I'm requesting a colleague that we have additional tree planting month from 15th March, say, all the way to 15th of April. I don't think the amendment I would like to reduce, except to my colleague, because it's a full piece of law. Thank you and support.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mogeni Rikoko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also contribute to the environment laws amendment bill that have been sponsored by my good friend Senator Haji. Madam Speaker, in the era we are living in, we all know the post is posed by climate change, especially careless cutting of trees. What is open the attention of governments now is the idea of protecting our environment and ensuring that our countries have good forest cover, so that we have sustainable management of our forests. I want to thank Senator Haji for coming with this bill that introduces some active measures and wants to guide our governments on this to put in place to ensure that we attain a good forest cover. And Senator Haji, this did not start just with you. If you read our 2010 Constitution, it declares that the country will need to attain 10% tree cover of the entire country. So what we're doing is trying to align the spirit and the intention of the 2010 Constitution. So I'm very impressed with the ideas that you have incorporated in this bill, and some of us were during the time of President Apno. So I was campaign by the President Moi to actually, even on road reserves, when I was in class 5, and I was traveling from Yamira to Rio. I was a very much student. We were stopped in as a town of Cadet. I'm sure it's that place. We were stopped in a place called Cadet, and the teacher was a decree that issued by President Moi. That was when that I believe in bankrupt were being stopped. You had a ticket, and the Moi was to create an environment of what is in the US. If you drive US, and both sides of the road, it's a forest. That's what we up to date, you travel to fatigue and get you. You set cover on the road reserve. That is the effort that was created by President Moi. Even the idea of soil erosion, what we forget is that our station contributes greatly in ensuring that deforestation does not happen, and also soil erosion. Moi did that in Africa. Only as a Kenyan, we did not fall, we did it seriously. I'm sure if we are taking more for 6 by now, we'll be having maybe more than 10% tree cover in our country. And this is also the work that was done by the late when people wanted to grab the forest, I was at the time serving as the chair of the Ethics and Commission, and of all people who wanted to grab the forest. Beautiful tree cover you see in Nigeria and unicorns was a risk of knocking with we find cases in court, and we managed to cancel it that issue to private individual. So, Senator, the effort that we today is an example with our champions of environmental conservation that have been in the past years. I would like to be able to and all from what happens in some countries in the West. I remember when I was in Chicago and I used to and I went to a place, and a bunch of care had fallen, and I was asking, what do you do with the tree? And Madam Speaker, he said, for you to cut any tree, you make an application to the local authority, they will undertake public participation before you are allowed to cut that tree. That's how it is. Some countries take the issue of cutting trees. So what we it's not very like. It's not very like. I wish you can go step far. If you drive, I think along UN, I don't think the name of the wrong way. If you drive, I think it's UN Avenue, past the UN headquarters, as you go into Runda, and as you drive from Limuru. But I'm can see that there's been a sustained effort of countries. I don't know what along that road. The village is long. But I don't think the person who is doing that exercise has taken to before he was given permission to cut. I wish you can improve this public participation before somebody is allowed to cut trees within urban centers. In fact, if I remember what that told me is that the public participation on that vote, people like that estate are able to vote and either answer in affirmation whether they support the tree or not. And then you get a permit that is solution. That if you chop actually, you must plant another in replacement. So the kind of that we recorded here, Senator, because the target instead to plant 870 million trees. Just with the concentration of 10% tree cover in that. If you leave to a government and speaker, and we don't invest student laws that you discourage the cutting of trees, we wake up and find instead of increasing our tree cover, we reduce it. And I like the idea of ensuring that we have seedlings that are afraid of us. We're one of the most advanced affected regions. Senator, and I don't know if this is blue to our region. You are lucky, Madam Speaker, you have to Wangari Mother. She discouraged the planting of gum trees. Most of our students who are died. People are taking long distances to look for a river they can fetch water. Because we were never provided, we planted trees. Very close to our river. We have a serious water scarcity.